Good evening, folks. We're going to be discussing the great waves of the cyclical catastrophe and North America, where 95% of my viewers live. Sediment, myth, religion, geophysics, fossils all speak of these great floods and how they occur rapidly, dramatically, with the oceans rushing inland, attacking the continents, and then sliding back to slumber in their basins. Folks, I'm going to be doing my usual model where the Gulf and the Atlantic are the primary attackers of the United States, but we will also be discussing the Pacific. Now, when I say that if we have evidence of the Pacific breaking through the Rockies, I'm just not super confident in the Appalachian Mountains, this is pretty much where my head is. It's not challenging to understand that if the Pacific comes through from the left, the Appalachians are really going to struggle against the forces of the Atlantic. In our model, the water in this portion of the world is generally pushed north-northwest, with the Pacific taking a bit more west-northwest push. This sends the Gulf of America and the Atlantic into North America towards about the 10 or 11 o'clock position, up and just a little bit to the left on a diagonal. You can see how the geography will funnel this up into central Canada. When the water hits the wall of the Rockies, it will want to go north rather than pile up. Understand that the tops of the Rockies stayed dry even when the Pacific broke through. Never came too close, actually. But the valleys filled and the water snaked its way through the low points and burst through into the central United States. How do we know it happened this way? Because the river basins here do not match the carving patterns over millions of years, slowly. If I turn this sideways, that green portion looks like the deep sea canyons described by Doug Vogt, the ones on every coastline which can't actually be turbidity current driven, showing the runoff points of past disasters, except where deep sea canyons show it running off the continents back into the ocean basins. This shows the filling up of the Rocky Mountains popping out through the low valleys. So we're basically looking at the lowest 20 to 30% of the eastern front of the Rockies being dangerous territory, even in what we call the New Valley of the Sun, in a scenario where the Pacific were to somehow attack this time. But most of that area does remain dry. The Gulf of America and the Atlantic, they're the reason their intrusion could be so devastating. There isn't exactly anywhere for the water to quickly go. And don't forget two critical things. The New Madrid Fault should unleash a major event, weakening the crust in the central U.S., and isostatic readjustment is still a very real thing. The weight of that much water in the central states should sink the middle of the country. The Gulf of America should experience uplift, and if so, the water is really trapped and will have an inland sea cutting this country in half. It's critical to look at the dedicated elevation maps and not just go off qualitative descriptions of satellites. Satellite is great, of course, but it can't show you visually how dramatically high up the western United States really is compared to the east. Looking at this from the eastern and central parts of the country, wouldn't you rather be up here with us? After 15 years of math and research on this topic, I bet my life and my children's lives on it. Maybe you should be paying closer attention. The 2040s are closer than you think. Best place to be is the eastern range of the Rockies, the right side of the red area. Too high for the geography to let the east be an issue, high enough to avoid the Pacific if you stay above about 4,900 feet in elevation. So those low areas in Arizona and New Mexico are in the breakthrough path of the Pacific if that Pacific wave comes. Low passes also exist in the northern states, maximum crest at around 4,800 feet, which fits our 5,000-foot model for safety pretty well. It is worth noting there are no major tsunami breakthrough points in Colorado or Wyoming. Maybe find a weekend to come see us at Observer Ranch and get yourself squared away. I'm noticing one of the most unexpected things we're hearing from people is that if they're aiming to find direction and preparing for what's coming, they leave this place so amazingly confident that they know how to win. I'll see you in the morning for the Daily Show. Be safe, everyone.